Hello, this is Rob Hirschfeld, Principal Architect at Dell. I'm one of the leads on the Crowbar project. And we just finished a really cool feature that I've been looking forward to for a while, and I wanted to show it off because I'm so excited about it. What it does is it replaces the names of the nodes with aliases and allows you to set the descriptions and then also regroup the nodes on the fly. So I'm going to show you how this works. And one of the other things that we added in this was the ability to pre-populate the names. So I'm going to show you all those features because they sort of work together to create this awesome improved user experience. So what I need to do for you is to bring up a new node. So I'm going to bring up fifth node into my system. I'm going to let that boot. And in the background I'm going to switch over and show you how the naming is set. So I'm in the Dell Crowbar Framework directory. The thing we're actually interested in is in the DB directory, and if I look at the node description file, there's a node description example that comes in the installs now. That file is basically going to allow you to set a default description, in this case just the created on date like we did, and the alias is just the node name, so nothing would change using the defaults. But if you know the machine's MAC addresses and the name of your admin server, you can take these short names and then it'll look them up and put in this information instead. So you'll notice you can set the description, you can set the alias, you can also set the group, and I'll explain more about how the group works. Let me show you what my file looks like. So you have to take off the example file, name your file node.description.yaml. You can save this off box, which is what I'd recommend, and then upload it into your environment. I use the same VMs as nodes every time, so the names are always consistent. If you use physical boxes, the MAC addresses are going to be consistent, and you can reuse this file over and over again. So what's interesting here is it's pretty straightforward. I have defaults, and then I have all my nodes. They have their descriptions. I actually want this one to be the controller, so I identified it as the controller. So that's pretty much what my file looks like. The way that shows up is over here when I have a new system come in. It's still in discovery mode. It's going to switch in a second. It will end up showing up in my bulk edit. Now you'll notice the alias I set for this is not here yet. For performance reasons, we don't look up the aliases out of that file every time. They are strictly a guide to help you here. Notice it's H instead of, it's not the discovered node yet, so it's filling in my defaults right here. Once the system actually switches to the regular D series here, then it'll find it and describe it. I'll show you how that works. And what you'll see is, since I'm using a virtual switch, it's using the MAC address, it's using the name of these nodes to determine the switch grouping. Let me go to bulk edit. Here we have this unallocated node. It says it's pulling from my alias file, node 5, compute 4, which is what I want it to be. I can go ahead and put it in and say allocate. And now it's going. Of course, I can still also set it from this list. So if I come over here and I click edit, same as always, it's going to populate the information the same. But once I've put it in, it's in, and now I can set it to whatever I want. So instead of node 4, I could call it node foo and hit save, and we're good. If you were paying attention, you also noticed I could set the group from that screen. I chose not to because I want to show you the other way to set group. I'm just going to clear the top dashboard area so that we have something going on here. So you notice these guys are in core. These guys are in a different node group. If I want to create a new group, let's call it foo. I add that group. It's going to show up down here, and to move the node, to create nodes in that group, I simply drag them into this group. So there's now a foo group. Node 3 is in that group. If I want, I could move the controller into foo, and it's going to show up in the foo group. It's that simple. So I can now reorder and reorganize the display here however is meaningful to me. If I decide I don't want to do that anymore and go back to the switch-based grouping, then I can just drag them into this area, and it says you may regroup by dragging or drop here You can drag anywhere in here. And it's going to pull that out and switch it back to the default naming, which is what the italics indicate. So from that perspective, I now have a way to reorganize the dashboard into ways that are more logical to your layout. And what we've done is the descriptions are going to show up on the hovers. And then this is also extended into the bar clamps. So when I'm working on a bar clamp, I'll do Nova. Here, in the regular proposal view, you'll see I have the aliases, and my hovers now give me the description and then the original name of the node. So I can still see what the node was originally named. In the edit view, I have the same capability. It's showing me aliases now instead of the non-descriptive names, which is very handy. You can see my controller is my controller, my nodes are my nodes, and then I can hover and still see the full data. If you haven't seen this drag and drop mode, the way this operates is that you can drag nodes into the appropriate role, it'll add them, and it will give you feedback about what's happened up over here so you can confirm the actions. In some cases there are things you can't do. For example, I can't put the admin into the controller, and it will tell me that you can't do that. You of course could if you edited it in the raw view, but we have rules so that you don't make mistakes like that without being an informed user. So same thing is true. You can't put two nodes in the role, and it's going to give you that feedback. So this came in the last release. We didn't talk about it that much, so you might not have known. I was very happy with that feature also. So that is the new features. We now have aliasing called out throughout the product with descriptions underneath, and then you're able to rearrange the groups on the screen. Hopefully you'll find this makes the product even easier to use. A great experience. Thank you very much.